You are listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I help female perfectionists beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good using the Fit Figure Formula coaching program. I'm your host, Stephanie Riles, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. If you've been struggling with all or nothing thinking, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, this is the podcast for you. Learn how to get consistent and become the best version of yourself from the inside out. So let's get started. Hey ladies, it's Coach Steph. I am going to be talking about complaining versus committing today because our brain will try to keep us stuck, and I want you to be on to yourself. Self-sabotage is just about your relationship with you. So I am Coach Steph, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. I'm the host of the Fit Figure Formula, which is my 16-week macros and mindset program where I'm in your back pocket every single day, helping you work through your mindset and giving you powerful tools to shift your identity and your thinking to create a lifestyle, and also giving you expert strategy to help you master your nutrition so that you never need a meal plan again. You never have to cut carbs or go keto again just to lose weight. So I'm so happy to bring this episode to you. The Fit Figure Formula coaching program is open. So if you need help with your nutrition, this is the time to enroll. Some of you I know have been following me for quite a while, and you're watching and you're lurking, and you haven't pulled the trigger yet. You're probably waiting for the perfect time. You're probably waiting for either school to start or after vacation or whatever. And I'm like, that's the self-sabotage, because there's not a perfect time, but I think we think that if we're on vacation or if something is happening, we can't do anything. That's not true. Even if you're on vacation, you can still set some goals for yourself that feel super simple. It could just be water and a step goal. That could be it. But we think that we have to do everything and be like, okay, this perfect time, space and time, or we'll have to do it later. And so I want you to know that ready is not a feeling. It's just a decision. Are you ready to feel better? Are you ready to commit? Are you ready to lose weight and to feel better and to fit in your jeans again? Are you ready to have more energy? If the answer is yes, you should be applying. If you apply, you get a no pressure call with me where I get to help you figure out what the real problem is, and then we can decide if it's a good fit for us to work together inside of the formula. So complaining versus committing and what that looks like in terms of consistency. So the first thing I'm going to say is, number one, you really need a system. You do not want to keep starting from scratch every time. Starting from scratch means that you're making a lot of decisions. And as human beings, we just get fatigued with decisions. And we don't, just think about like, okay, you're saying I'm going to start on Monday, and you do good for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday gets a little iffy, Friday, you're TGIFing, and Saturday, you're just like, I'll start over on Monday every time. And so we want to stop that. We want to stop doing that. We want to stop complaining about doing that. We want to make it a lifestyle, and you don't have to be perfect, which is a good thing, but you do have to have a system that lends itself to continuing to show up for yourself. Okay. So complaining feels like it's super valid. One of the things that I see when people complain or they blame circumstances, it's like, I didn't meal prep because I had a super busy week. And this is what everybody says. Okay. So you're not alone if you're like hearing yourself in some of these, but like, it's like, oh my God, my week was so crazy. Work was crazy. What does that even mean for real? Because sometimes that's just an excuse, right? And I know, like, yes, sure, work could be busy, but if you really had to, let's just say you had to have certain habits. Maybe you had to eat, or else there were dire consequences, right? You had to eat a certain amount per day, and there were dire consequences if you did not. I bet you, I don't care how busy work got, you'd get it done. So it's not that you don't have the time or that things were so crazy. It's just that, I didn't stop each day long enough to refocus and be really intentional. I told a client today, after she was telling me how busy her week was, and she hadn't done any of the items in her account for 2 weeks. So I'm like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take utter radical responsibility for all of your actions. Just own all of it. Because even when it's not in your control, it is. And if we approach it that way, then we won't keep putting the result or our lack of habits on the circumstances. Stop putting it on the circumstance. I want to be the problem because I'm also the solution. I can only fix me. I can make decisions. That's something that I can do. I want to be the problem. So do not allow the circumstance, a lack of a system, or complaining to keep you stuck, right? Complaining can give you the illusion of the fact that you're processing the circumstances, but it doesn't really help you grow at all. You're just kind of regurgitating what didn't work, what won't work. Another really tricky way that this shows up is saying things like, well, this is how I always do it. I'm not a morning person, or I've never been a morning person, or normally what I do is X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, that's great. But all of that is just telling me what hasn't been working. And so, for example, I'll get on a call with a client who hasn't been eating breakfast. And one of the first things that I teach you is the breakfast formula. And as soon as I say that word, it's like, oh, well, I don't eat breakfast because, I'm busy in the morning. Usually I just, go get Starbucks or whatever. And I'm just like, right. So I have to explain. We're going to think about ourselves as splitting into parts. Your 1.0 self that does not have the goal that you want. And then your 2.0 self who's creating the goal. And so you cannot keep saying, I don't do this, or this is how I've always done it, because that is not getting you the result that you want. And that is like a little sneaky way. It doesn't seem like you're complaining, and it might not really be a complaint, but it is definitely in that camp of regurgitating what's actually not working and just thinking, okay, this is how I always do it. And I'm like, okay, we're going to practice doing it a different way so that we can actually get the result that we want. Right. And most of my clients are totally fine with that. And obviously, as a coach, I'm not just saying, hey, make sure you eat breakfast. Right. If you're not eating until noon, we're just backing that up an hour. Right. Until you start getting more hungry, because we're training our body. If you don't eat in the morning, you're training your body not to be hungry in the morning, and that hunger signal will cut off usually. But as you walk, as you strength train, as you start having something like a milk, something semi-solid, whatever, you'll actually get more hungry. We can move that breakfast up so we can start shifting your calories up throughout the day. So complaining, a dead end sentence. It is not processing the problem. It's just regurgitating it, and you're not growing if you're complaining. So it keeps you emotionally busy, but physically frozen. So yeah, you're talking about it, you're thinking about it, and none of it's helping you move forward. And sometimes it can sound like, I just can't lose weight right now. I've tried everything. I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried that. Nothing seems to work. I can't lose a pound. That's what someone in my family says all the time. I can't lose a pound. And it also sounds like I don't have time, or if so-and-so were more supportive, or I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the support, or it's harder for me than other people, or I'm just not disciplined, I'm just not consistent, I'm just not motivated, or once I feel motivated, I'll get started, right? So complaining gives you the illusion that you're doing something by pointing out the problem, but it's actually not solving it. And your brain loves this because it keeps you in something very familiar and it's not changing. You can complain till the cows come home. So these venting loops where you're talking about the same problem over and over again, day in and day out, and there's no new action. Sometimes I like to ask my clients, how long are you going to allow that to be the problem? If your work is so busy that you cannot eat lunch, that's a problem. How long are you going to allow that to be the reason why you don't have your result? Are you just going to complain about that? Or are you going to make some moves? Are you going to speak up and say, hey, I need help. I need to be able to eat. Another way to spot passive or sneaky complaining is passive comparison. And we do this a lot about like social media or other people who have lost weight. It's like, oh, either it must be easier for her, or she's so young, or she's not in menopause yet, or something to that effect, as if you're saying like, it's comforting or it's okay that I'm where I'm at because circumstances must be different for that person. Number one, comparison always puts you in lack and scarcity energy. Number one. Number two, we just want to make sure that we're never comparing to an older version of ourselves. We're never comparing to other people's journey. At the end of the day, you're on your own journey and it's all within your power. And you have to believe that so that you don't allow the circumstances to become a barrier. Overanalyzing things, researching macros again, instead of actually just tracking them. You know, the most valuable thing you can do is get started. Because sometimes I feel like when we're trying to create a goal and we don't know exactly what we're doing, we'll research it and research it and research it. Or we'll just be scared to start because we don't know every step. But you will know the steps once you get in there and do it. Have you ever tried something and it seems very scary, very overwhelming and fuzzy, like lots of uncertainty? Once you get in and you start making some moves, you start taking some action on what you do know, like that next step, it becomes a lot less overwhelming, a lot less scary, a lot less fearful. It becomes easier to do. So get in there and start taking some action. If you want to sign up for the Fit Figure Formula, what are you waiting for? If you want to start taking a walk, take the walk. If you want to join a gym, join the gym. So sometimes I'll have a client like, oh yeah, I'm planning on joining the gym. I'm like, okay, what deadline have you given yourself to do that? Because you can say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And it makes it feel like you've made a plan to do it, but you haven't actually taken action on it. And that's just procrastination. And it's like, well, I'm trying to find the right trainer or trying to find the right gym. How long are you going to let that be the reason why you're not going to the gym? Go to the gym. Go and pick one. You'll never know which gym that you like or which trainer that you like the most unless you go in there and you start, and then you'll figure that out. Like, you can figure it out while you're taking action. Do not let yourself off the hook like that. Okay. We all do it. This is no shame, no shade. We all do this, but today here's your kick in the pants to stop doing that and take some action, girl. It's time. Okay. So perfectionist, pity. If I can't do it perfectly, what's the point? I hear this a lot about just, well, I already messed up, so what's the point? Or I've been doing all of this stuff so well. I've been really proud of my habits, but the scale didn't move. So I'm like, what's the point? I'm like, no. This is why I talk about the identity-based goals. You cannot just say, I did this action, now give me a pound less, because that will be a torturous weight loss journey. You have to focus on your identity-based goals and taking messy action. One of the things that helped me so much at one point, and sometimes it still does, is being able to take messy action. Give yourself permission to just start even when you don't know all the pieces. If you know that you need to start taking walks, you need to start drinking water, you need to eat more protein. Don't wait until you have found the perfect equation to figure out exactly how many grams of protein you need. Just start eating more protein. So you'll figure out the rest as you go instead of never starting because you're mentally thinking about it, overanalyzing, or complaining about it. Okay. Ask yourself, is this helping me move forward? Be honest with yourself. Whenever you're talking about your health journey, the words that are coming out of your mouth, are they actually helping you move forward? Or does it give me an excuse to stay stuck? Okay. So complaining is often disguised as being honest. I'm just sharing how I feel or sharing what happened or sharing the circumstance. But a lot of times it's just you regurgitating the problem. And the more you focus on the problem, the less you're going to create a solution for it. So the power of committing, what committing really means, it just means to make a decision and not waiting for your feelings. I promise you, if you start taking action, your feelings are going to follow. We all know that if we go to the gym when we don't want to, after our workout, we're like, oh my God, that was great. Like, you feel good. You feel proud of yourself. You're glad you did it. And the feeling of wanting to or being glad that you did came after taking the action. So make that decision. I have a client right now who I'm working with who I am encouraging her to make a decision about what she's going to eat for lunch, because she's like, well, breakfast is pretty standard, but I always eat different things for lunch. So I'm just not sure about like pre-planning what I'm going to have for lunch. And I'm like, well, you are making that decision every day anyway. At the time it's time to eat lunch, you're making a decision. We're just moving that time that you're making a decision up a little bit. So just decide, like, what if there's no wrong answer? Like, you can just decide now. And sure, maybe if you don't have a taste for that, sometimes you can change it. But I think that gets y'all in a lot of trouble where you're like, oh, I don't want to decide or plan my meals because I'm not sure what I'm going to want to have at the time. Knowing that a lot of times you're eating the same things in rotation anyways, and you're allowing your taste buds to ruin your results, because when you don't plan, you don't know what you're going to have. You're not prepared. Then you get hungry and now you're not making very good decisions. So I just encourage you, make the decision, take that power back and decide what you're going to have. Sometimes, yes, your decision and your pick may change, but don't leave space for that. Just decide what you're going to do and take that power back. Take messy action without waiting for a perfect plan, and be willing to fail and still show up. And I don't even like to say fail, honestly. Be willing to make mistakes. Be willing to have slip ups, right? Commitment really isn't about being perfect. It's about being unavailable for your excuses. The best version of yourself doesn't wait. Think about that. The best version of yourself is not sitting around waiting whether or not she's going to go to the gym. She's not sitting around pondering if she's going to join the formula. She's taking action. Commitment in action looks like, I don't know exactly how, but I'm going to figure it out. But I'm figuring it out, right? I'm in the process of figuring it out and taking some small action. I don't feel like tracking today, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is hard, but I can do hard things. No more starting over. I'm just continuing. Okay, so I want you to ask yourself this. What complaint do you find yourself repeating the most? Think about when you talk about your health journey or your health habits that you are or are not doing, or that friend that you get together and kiki with, and y'all are talking about how much you want to lose weight, but you're at happy hour every evening drinking wine, and y'all are talking about how you want to make some changes, but you'll do it next time. Okay. What complaint do you find yourself repeating the most? What does that complaint allow you to avoid doing? A lot of it is, it allows you to avoid taking radical responsibility for your own actions. If you're constantly blaming your job for you not eating well while you travel, or not being able to eat lunch at work, or getting home so late that you can't make dinner, then it allows the circumstance to be the problem. How long are you going to allow that to be the problem? How can we set some boundaries around what time you're going to get off from work, or I think it's a law that they have to, let you eat if you're working a certain amount of hours. What would commitment look like instead? If I already believed that I could be successful at this, if I could change my lifestyle, I could feel better, I could lower my A1C, I could not be scared that I'm going to get diabetes. How would I show up today if I actually believed that I could be successful? If I thought that I was walking in my success right now, how would I show up? You have to be her today. I want you to think more about your highest and best self. And this is something that I teach my clients in the formula. This is something we practice, something embedded in the curriculum when you work with me. We're going to focus more on solutions and more on the version of ourselves that already has the goal. She's not waiting for the perfect plan. She's already acting in alignment with her goals. You cannot create the results of a committed woman with the thoughts of a complaining one. So you have to be thinking more about, well, what would my highest and best self do right now? What would she be thinking right now? I've asked a couple of clients this week, at the point of activation where you're deciding to have alcohol or water, or you're deciding to go to the gym or not, what are you thinking about during that few seconds? That makes all the difference. That's your 1% shift. You don't need to radically change your mindset. You just need 1 or 2 thoughts at the point of activation that's going to help you take the action that you need. That's it. And that is how you get consistent. Number 1, you have a system, which is what I help my clients do inside the formula. Build a system. Now, are you going to go off the system sometimes? Absolutely. But just like last night, I had my Fit Figure Formula coaching call. We talked about how to get yourself to start taking action when you've fallen off. Falling off is not a problem. We just want to refocus faster. We want to have a ritual for getting back on track quicker, and then it becomes less of a problem. So we just want to make sure that we're practicing being that person. We have a system to fall back on. We have a way to evaluate that system, to tweak that system, and we make identity-based goals. That's going to help you get consistent, stay consistent without perfection, and not having to do everything right or know every single step before you get started. It is time. I see y'all on social media and I'm like, I know she's been watching me for a while, and there's a reason. It's time. Okay. So if you need help, the formula is open. Head to the show notes or head to the link in my bio on social media and apply to work with me inside the Fit Figure Formula. So go ahead and book your free, no pressure call to join the formula, and I would love to help you. Make sure that you check out some more of the episodes of the Fit Figure Formula podcast. It's really good, y'all. I will have to say, I'm very proud of my podcast. There are lots of topics on nutrition and mindset and ways that you can get consistent. So check out the Fit Figure Formula podcast. Again, if you want some help, make sure you join the Fit Figure Formula, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.